Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The World Championship is just around the corner, but as soon as it ends, questions will immediately be raised about roster mania for next season. Which teams are going to stay together, which teams might potentially split up. I wonder about Envoy's place in roster mania for the last couple of seasons. If Thieves don't win this event, will they decide to stick together regardless? Envoy's revealing that both Crimsix and Slasher he has egoed and decided not to team with them over the last couple of years. Could a similar story repeat itself once again? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. Thanks very much indeed for doing that. I thought this was pretty funny behind the scenes type footage right here. Just to mention this, of course, from Rocker as well, because 4 teams will not be attending the World Championship. Rocker are included. They bring up the Rocker pontoon party right here. So we've got, I guess we've got Paris on the boat itself. Bring this up on the big screen. Paris on the boat itself with Donny Temp. Actually kind of funny. If you zoom in on this, it says to Las Vegas because obviously Paris are moving to Vegas next year. Like, I don't know yet if there's going to be any change in management over there, because if they're moving to Vegas from Paris, it makes it sound like they're trying to actually make this thing a little bit better. Now, whether they're trying to give it the Vegas branding just so they can sell it on for more money, that might be an idea. Whether that can happen this off-season though, because there might be investors involved in like, okay, there's a Vegas team now, okay, we want to get that, maybe we can rebrand it from the Legion or whatever, because they're probably gonna have to change up the logo, right? Because their current logo is very much Paris and French related, so they're gonna have to change that up anyway. So why not just sell the org and go to a different management? That would be the ideal. But yeah, Donny Temp maybe is going to be still on that team next season in Vegas, but hopefully Vegas can actually be an attractive, decent franchise. But with the same management, nothing's really going to change, so that's a question mark as well. But yeah, Donny Temp's here, Rocker are kind of here, Modern Warfare 2 bound. We've got Spart over on the left-hand side here with a donut ring, holding the Major 2 trophy. That didn't work out too well after that. And then, of course, the Florida Mutineers going down with their ship in the background, right? But yeah, the other 8 teams are, of course, going to be there at the World Championship. Wanted to mention this as well, because the rumor presently has it, of course, that Modern Warfare 2 next year, well, this year's game, is going to be a 2-year Call of Duty, right? We might be playing Modern Warfare 2 for this year in Call of Duty League 2023, and then again in COD League 2024. That has its host of upsides and downsides. If the game is good, it could be great actually for the scene. If the game is bad, as it probably will be for competitive, then it could be terrible, right? Like, it's obviously a balancing act there. Now, the possibility I was thinking is, are Activision actually going to say, every COD from here on out is a 2-year title, and, we're just going to release a new COD every 2 years? Because I was thinking, like, in terms of revenue, in terms of Activision's like overall cash that they make from selling a new COD every year, that seems probably something they wouldn't want to do. Maybe they think that it's going to make the game better in the long run, but that's a significant revenue cut that they're going to have to take if they're not releasing a new COD every year and it goes to every 2 years. So my theory was, will they decide to release like a remaster of a game in the kind of mid-year, right? So let's say we go Modern Warfare 2 next season, and then they release a remastered game in 2023 just to be like, okay, just to keep the profits ticking over, and then the year after that they then release another proper Call of Duty game. So the theory was that it's Infinity Ward's Modern Warfare 2022 this year, that's for 2 years, then Treyarch produce their next game in 2024, that's then a 2-year game, and then it goes on from there. But it has mentioned that there will be a new premium Call of Duty in 2023. Now apparently in Activision lingo, anything that mentions premium content is effectively a paid for new Call of Duty title, as Charlie Intel described. This is not more Modern Warfare 2 content, by the way. Activision refers to the yearly COD release as a premium since it is paid. So definitely implying something more than just new content is coming next year. So this might lend towards the theory, and I know this is optimistic thinking, but I would love to see a world in which we play Modern Warfare 2 for 1 year, and then in the end of that season they release, like, okay, let's say they released Black Ops 3 Remastered in the best possible case scenario, and then they think, well, for the CDL, do we want to do another year of Modern Warfare 2, despite the fact that everyone who wants to buy it has probably already bought it, or do we say, look, let's make them play this season on Black Ops 3 Remastered to help the sales of our new title, right? Which is effectively the whole point of the CDL, is a marketing endeavor for the game itself. At least I'm pretty sure that's how Activision sees it. So, maybe that's going to happen, but, I'm not really going to get my hopes up on that one, to be honest. Wanted to talk about the new subliners actually real quick, because they go into the World Championship era as, one of the top favorites for the event, certainly not the favorites, but they made a great run lately. It would be one of the most unbelievable runs in Call of Duty history if somehow they can put together a championship winning performance here after the run to actually make the World Championships themselves, which seemed nigh on impossible at times. But a clip came out from PaulEhx. I feel like I even heard a clip from a few weeks ago where PaulEhx got into some sort of car crash, and I'm not sure if this hand injury is related to that or it's just related to the game itself. But he was actually revealing that during Major 4, he was having some serious problems like with his hands, right? He was having some hand pain in certain areas of his wrist and his thumbs, and seems oddly kind of not exactly similar to iLLy's situation, but like we've seen this happen quite a long time, or quite a lot recently, right, in Call of Duty. Happened to Alex back in Modern Warfare, of course the iLLy situation, the Zuma situation, and now PaulEhx is saying that at Major 4, he had these was real paint in his hand, and he didn't want to tell his team because that might kind of bring down team morale, so he kept that to himself, played through the pain, and obviously didn't have his greatest event right in terms of numbers. This is probably PaulEx's weakest event in a very long period of time. Still managed to help get the job done for the team and kind of did what he could, but yeah, key storyline really, because if players keep suffering with stuff like this, and is he fixed for champs, right? As he says, you know, I gotta stay focused, trying to stay focused, and of course he's getting ready to go, but yeah, is this going to recur at champs, right? Is the sound all okay now? Is he going to be able to play it at full strength, because they're going to need him there to beat the top dogs on a consistent basis, I would imagine. So, I mean, yeah, tough scenes for New York potentially and PaulEhx, but I imagine the team is now aware and has been able to deal with it over the last few days.
Like my trigger finger and my thumb, and then over time it went down to my wrist, and it was just killing me. But I didn't tell anyone because, like, I'm not gonna tell my team that going into a damn event. I played through it, and you know, it happens.
Speaking of New York, then here, of course, is the roster of 4, and a big question would be raised if this team, let's say, you know, bombs out of the World Championship. What do they decide to do next year? We know that Hydra is going to be a free agent. Like, he can walk away if he desires to, and if there is an option that is more appealing. Now, with the success that they have had, like, does he want to stay team with Crimsix? We know what Kismet's done for this team. We know what PaulEhx has done for this team. So I think if they have a good result here, grand finals, top 3, whatever, they'll probably stick together and run it back next year. But Hydra is kind of the wild card there, because let's say Thieves come out and say, look, Hydra, we want to bring you in, and let's say Hydra wants to join, then a question might be had over there as well if Thieves also have a bad World Championship, for example. Thieves come out with their kind of 0 to 100 episode yesterday. I think I haven't got the chance to watch it yet. I was reading some people talking about it, and they were saying that it wasn't quite the quality of the old ones, which maybe makes sense really, because they used to have so many top tier videographers, right, and editors as part of the 100 Thieves team, and recently they've laid off a load of people, so just doesn't seem like they quite have the same content team that they used to, maybe, to produce like really innovative stuff, like interviews with the players after the matches and kind of breaking everything down. It seemed like more of an event recap, people were saying, than maybe what 0 to 100 used to be back in Black Ops 4, for example. But yeah, still obviously good content to have in the Call of Duty scene. But a few days ago they did this kind of plead the fifth, where Envoy especially was getting asked about previous roster manias and well, exactly what he's done at times to ego potential players that he could have teamed with. I believe we even heard about this from Crimsix, that Crim kind of wanted to team with Envoy, and then he decided to go to Los Angeles Thieves, I think, this season, rather than maybe joining like the subliners that he maybe could have joined at the start of this season if he wanted to. I think Crim even said some words like, okay, Envoy, he's just, you know, he's a clout digger or something. Ever since he's on OpTic, he just wants the clout, so he's going to join Thieves instead of, you know, come with Crimsix. But Envoy also mentions that Slasher was an option as well for Envoy in the last couple of seasons, but again, he's turned down those opportunities to go to OpTic Chicago and Los Angeles Thieves, respectively.
Have you ever egoed a pro player in teaming together? Envoy, have you ever egoed Envoy?
And who?
Jeez. And who? Explain yourself, please, and thank you. Yeah, that was a
I don't know. I heard some.
You put me on the spot.
Some bad story.
Listen, bro, just plead the fifth, bro. Plead the fifth?
I'm right here. He pleading to me.
Plead the
Guilty.
So,
I'm right here.
So what happened?
Yeah, how'd it go?
I'll go. Back-to-back years.
Damn. Oh, you shaded. This guy's a serial sketcher.
Back-to-back years. I think this is like a two-parter. It's
Jesus.
Crim and Austin. Back-to-back years.
Wait,
I had the opportunity to team with them, and back-to-back years I didn't.
Why didn't you? Explain yourself.
Better. In my head, I had better options. You know, look at our squad.
So why didn't you team with me and Sam?
Jeez.
Yeah. Why didn't you team with me?
Plead that.
Cause you're dog.
I'm pleading the fifth of that one.
Okay.
Just to look at Envoy's career here and try and break down exactly what he's talking about and when these situations arose. So I'm guessing like Modern Warfare, of course, he was on the Chicago Huntsmen. I don't know if there would have been an opportunity for Envoy to team with Slasher or Crimsix into the Modern Warfare season. I think the idea it was going to be that Seattle team, right, with Envoy and like Arcitys was going to be there and Octane was going to be there or something along those lines. But he ends up joining, of course, the Chicago Huntsmen. Then going into Cold War, interesting really if that was true, that he potentially had an offer from, it seems crazy that he would have been able to team with Crimsix in that off-season though, because of course it was the Dallas Empire team. That team of 5 wanted to stay together. Clayster ends up getting removed and they stick with a team of 4 Dallas Empires. That probably, there was no way surely that Envoy was getting into that team. And then the other option I suppose was Los Angeles Thieves at the time where Slasher was going. Maybe they wanted Envoy then into that team, but he was telling Slasher like, no, not going to happen. I've got the offer from OpTic. I'm going to go do that instead. So maybe at that time it was kind of egoing Slasher or whatever, but of course expected. Now this past off-season was maybe more interesting because of course Gorillas had Slasher and Sasha, I think, was kind of the last addition to that team, but maybe Sasha had some other ideas where he was talking to Envoy and being like, well, hey, maybe we can do something here in Los Angeles Thieves, because there maybe was a question whether Octane was going to be there. Turns out, of course, that wasn't the case, but maybe Sasha had an offer potentially to go with Envoy somewhere. And then what I'm imagining here is then the Crimsix situation with the subliners as to being like, okay, it was going to be Crim plus Clay, and as it was at the start of the year, Hydra and Neptune, maybe they said, look, Envoy, do you want to be the fourth guy for that team instead of Neptune maybe? And then Envoy was like, no, not going to happen, Crim. I'm going to go to Thieves instead and team with this squad, which of course in the end has worked out for him. I suppose the question might be though, could Envoy potentially get involved in another roster mania period? I doubt it's going to be the case this season, the way the season has trended for these Los Angeles Thieves guys. He probably wants to stay on Los Angeles Thieves, but still, it is a question mark what happens next year in the off-season, because Drazah turned up, Octane turned up, the entire team turned up, of course, but if Thieves don't have the World Championship result that they want, will they at least look at the market? They might at least have to look at the market and consider, right? If Hydra is a free agent, you can't necessarily just sit there and be like, no, we're going to stick, we came fourth at Champs, we're going to stick anyway. If Hydra's there and wants to move to your team, you've got to at least entertain the possibility. Maybe in that case they would decide against it. I think they probably would. I think Envoy would be a good guy to keep around, but maybe there's a world in which an Envoy Hydra swap could happen and he ends up teaming with Crimsix regardless, but I kind of doubt that's going to happen. But these Rostermania storylines will keep on chugging into future seasons as well, and like Crim has definitely like given his fair share of credit to Envoy. I think he was tweeting out the fact that, yeah, Envoy is a bit of a beast a couple of years ago, so Crim often does this, right, with players that he might want to team with in the future, giving them a bit of gas on Twitter and in videos and stuff like this to, you know, make a good relationship there so Crimsix can make sure he's still got a talent pipeline of younger guys to team with as his career progresses, because that's kind of Crim's biggest risk really, is that a lot of the better players he's teamed with have kind of moved on to other teams and done different things and joined OpTic and stuff like this, and he's left with players that might not have quite the star name and star power, but he can still get results from. So Crim's got to keep his relationship up with some of these younger guys to make sure that he still has good SMGs to team with into the future, because Crim's probably going to keep competing for as long as his hands like give him the ability to do so. To be honest, he doesn't seem like he wants to step away anytime soon. That's been a question really, like which of the three main guys, Crim, Clay and Scump, are going to step away first. Who's the guy going to be? Like Clay I think was going to step away if he doesn't get a Pro League offer this year. He just said he was going to retire. I think probably he will. Scump of course will probably step away when he doesn't enjoy it anymore or doesn't really get the satisfaction from competing at a high level, which I don't really think it's going to go away soon either. Like Scump's probably looking at Clay thinking, okay, Clay's 30 now, Crim's like 28, 29, like I've got at least a couple more years in me. So Clay I think will be probably the first to step away. I think Crim, I think Crim will keep going as long as he can, as long as he has good teammates to actually build a competitive roster. Crim will still be going, but what their team looks like next season is largely going to be determined by what happens here at the World Championship. But very much enjoyed your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, tell us a YouTube god, this is a good video, and I was like you should see it as well, and I hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.